proper analysis, not some kind of like bullshit, and not something that's gonna just annoy us. Kate and Jimbo, we wanna see a bit of football chat, not like the rest of the other football crap. Hey, we wanna get it with the realness. So, baby, Kate and Jimbo.
Welcome back to Kate and Jimbo. Hope everyone's well tonight. It's a special show tonight. We've got two wonderful guests with us. One who is a regular now on the channel and one who's made his debut, and we've been chasing him forever. And we finally pinned him down to a day. So it's going to be an interesting show tonight. Please do smash a like, subscribe, hype, and also go over to Spotify and follow us at Kate and Jimbo over there as well. Billy, nice to have you back on the show. How are you? How are you doing? You seem to be everywhere at the minute.
Yeah, nice to be back. Thank you. Good to be on with Connor as well. Me and Connor, I've not been on with Connor for ages. Where I've been slacking lately, but yeah, really good to be on with you four guys and you three, sorry. And yeah, exciting couple of days, ahead. Hopefully, we've got a match and hopefully a couple of transfers to come.
Yeah, it looks that way. Everyone was having a mini meltdown, and shush, be calm. Everything's under control. And Connor, the man, the myth, the legend that we've been trying to get on for ages. Thank you for coming on. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for having me on, and long awaited appearance on here. And I think that's the first time I've not caught you midway through a show and listened to your intro. And I was dancing along. Thankfully, no one could see me. But yeah, good to be on. Good to see you both. And yeah, good to be back on with you, Bill, as well. We haven't fallen out. That isn't the reason why we haven't done a show for a while. It's all my fault.
We probably speak more every day than we did before, don't we? But we just haven't.
I think we do.
We've got lots of stuff going on, so we'll be back. We'll be back soon.
Yeah. Well, now the season's starting, you've got no excuse. You've got to come back. It's as easy as that. And there's their channel. It is in the description. I will put it in throughout the show as well. But I'm sure everybody's subscribed. Jimbo, got to check in with you. You all right since I saw you 5 minutes ago?
I'm all right. We're going to be fighting for the league.
Oh, God. Big up to everyone in the chat as well. And also, I've got to say that name, Sonam, coming in with a super chat saying, sorry, Johnny, who's live. Can't miss Kate and Jimbo. Can't wait for the season to start. Big up, Johnny. And thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you being here. Connor, I'm going to start with you just simply because before we get on to, obviously, we will talk about transfers, but I saw you put a tweet out today basically saying that following previous speculations confirmed that Levy's shares have indeed been diluted following the latest ENIC £100 million injection. For layman's people like me, who's not got, are you waving, Billy? Do you want to say something, or are you just?
Oh no, I was just giving a salute to someone in the chat.
Oh, okay, sorry. For people like me and Jimbo, who although obviously we love the club, we don't really follow the financial side of it. And you seem to be the expert in the community. What does this mean? Levy's diluted his shares. What exactly does this mean?
Don't tell Sean that either, will you? I know he likes to say.
I've told him.
Yeah, look, I think on this, basically, what happened before, and I'll try and do it as simply as possible so you don't send all your viewers to sleep straight away with a pretty technical accounting answer. But whenever ENIC put money in to the club, so it didn't happen that often in the past, but more recently they've been injecting cash into the club. What they normally do in return is basically increase their own share ownership for the club.
Right.
And in the past, when they did that, it would basically be Joe Lewis was the one who was stumping up the cash to fund those injections in. But Daniel Levy would benefit in the same way the Lewises did and get his shares increasing every time. And then with minority shareholders like Lubo, for example, who's someone who owns a little bit of shares in the club, their shareholding comes down a little bit every time. So they basically lose a few shares every time ENIC put money into the club. But what's happened with the most recent one is the Lewises have put the money in, and this time they've actually diluted Daniel Levy as if he was any other shareholder rather than let him benefit from that money they've put in. So this is quite a big deal, because basically what it cements is that there definitely has been a falling out of some description, and they're no longer allowing Levy to have this free ride unless he also puts more cash into the club alongside the Lewis family. So it's quite a big deal, and it'd be interesting, how it sort of plays out with future ones as well.
Wow. See, this is how stupid I am. I'm not good with maths, right? And I read that and that didn't even occur to me that that's what that meant. So I'm glad that you've explained that. So is Levy, obviously we know Lubo as an instance. I'm not using him particularly, but he's the only person I know that's got shares in Tottenham. Does Levy have any say in the club anymore now? Or no?
No, not really. I mean, he's de facto a minority shareholder, but just a minority shareholder who has a lot of minority shares and a lot more than a Lubo has, for example. But basically, in terms
Wow.
of the day-to-day running of the club, no say whatsoever. I think every time that ENIC themselves put money in, like that 100 million, they will invite Daniel to put in his proportion. So to use a very simple example, if you say of ENIC, I'll just simplify the numbers. These aren't the exact ones, but just for example, let's say the Lewis family owns 70% of ENIC and Daniel Levy owns 30%. When ENIC put in 100 million, if they were doing it the right way, what you would have is the Lewises would put in 70 million and Daniel Levy would put in 30 million. But
Okay.
obviously, Daniel doesn't really have that cash available, so that's probably the reason he didn't. So instead, what's happened on this one is the Lewises put in the full 100 million, and they basically said, Daniel, your shares are going to reduce accordingly because you didn't put in any money yourself. So it's a way of them getting to basically keep diluting his shares down as well every time they inject money into the club.
Wow. Billy,
It,
you got any
it,
thoughts? Oh, go on,
sorry,
Jimbo. Sorry.
can I just ask on that one? Is it beneficial for him to put the 30 million in?
Longer term, yes, because what would happen is if you assume the value of the club is going to go up, he would benefit from that increased
From the
shareholding
shares?
at the point at which we sell. But obviously, in the short term, he would be
No.
sinking £30 million of cash into the club, which he's probably going to struggle to get together because he's not as cash rich as the Lewises are. Um, but this is probably why, like if I was Daniel Levy, I mean, I would probably be thinking to myself, do you know what? I would want to sell my shares, and obviously we had all those rumours a couple of months ago about him selling to the DJ and the Asian consortium, which has all gone a bit quiet and looks like it, based on what we can see now, that was all a load of nonsense. But if I was him, I would want to sell because, to Kate's earlier question, he's got no say in the day-to-day running of the club. He can keep getting diluted if he isn't able to meet these cash requirements whenever ENIC put in. So, you know, um, I would rather see my sort of money now. Bearing in mind he's going to make, 700 million or something when he sells his stake, and go and invest it in something that I have control over if it was me. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out over time.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder what went on. I wonder what I know we don't know. So, like, is there any inclination? Has anyone heard of anything, Billy, Connor, either of you, of what actually went on that caused this? There's obviously, like you say, there's obviously been some sort of falling out. Do we
Yeah, I
know
mean,
what?
it's all speculation, I think, but I don't know if Connor's heard anything. I mean, it might possibly be due to the fact that apparently Daniel Levy was entertaining, offers for this minority stake without making it clear, communicating it with everyone. But everything's just speculation, I think. Right, Connor?
Yeah, it is. I mean, look, I don't know this, right? But if I was speculating myself, I would say that I suspect the kids got a bit fed up with Daniel having this free ride for all of this time and being able to benefit from something that, this exact example, right? Whenever ENIC had to put money in, he
Yeah.
gets the free ride, doesn't have to put any in, gets to benefit from it. And then if you were the kid, you'd go, why are we doing that? When we could just go and hire a CEO to do the job he was doing. And it's us that are the ones that are having to pump the money in every time. We want to be the ones who take most of the benefit from it. And I think they probably just didn't have that same loyalty to him that Joe Lewis had as the dad. And yeah, I mean, these types of things happen, but it's very soap opera with Tottenham always, isn't it? It
It
feels,
is always.
nothing simple. I feel like, I've made a bit of a YouTube personality and talking about Tottenham financials and boardroom issues because it's always going on at Spurs, and I'm not sure you could say the same about other clubs, but it
What
keeps us all busy.
I do believe is definitely true is he wasn't even allowed to go and get his stuff from his office, so they
Wow.
wouldn't even let him into his office to get his stuff. That's been quite widely reported. So whatever it was must have been very bad. And my one takeaway from all of it is this is not going to be the end of it, or I think it'll get quite messy.
Yeah.
I mean, you've already seen the stuff about the basketball thing, and like they're both trying to buy a basketball franchise, and I think this is going to get worse before it gets better.
I heard Simon Jordan say not that long after Levy left that he's done an interview with him, but he can't release it because there's potentially going to be a court case.
Yeah, I see.
So,
that interview's never seen the light of day, has it? So.
No, it does sound like it's going to be a little bit messy, and it's kind of sad in a way.
He actually, Simon Jordan said that Enoch suspect foul play of Daniel Levy, and that's what he said that on air. So something's gone on there.
It's quite.
One day it'll all come out in a Netflix documentary anyway, and I will definitely.
Yeah, and we expect Connor to be in there somewhere.
Yeah, he'll be one of the talking heads.
It's quite sad because although Levy gets criticised a lot, we've got a lot to thank him for the position we're in right this very second. So the fact that it's ended so sour is kind of sad in a way. Do we think or not? Am I just being girly? I suppose it's business.
Me and Billy are probably the wrong people to ask about.
Yeah,
I'll do the Jose Mourinho. I prefer not to speak.
Yeah. I suppose, and at the end of the day, business is business. And
but at the same time, I'm loving the headroom that he created for us. So thank you for that. I will say
exactly
made this brilliant transfer window possible in many ways.
One thing's for sure, if Levy's stuff does go up for sale on eBay, I'm pretty sure Sean will be buying a fair amount of it to have in his room. Came here for a bomber. There's always a bomber when Kate and Jimbo go live. There has been of recent times for sure. While we're on finances, a lot of chat of late. Obviously, Simon Jordan today had an absolute... Well, I don't know what to really call it, Jimbo.
Doesn't he? He loves talking about
Tottenham.
Tottenham.
Since Daniel Levy's gone, he's very anti-Tottenham, and he came out with this sort of Abgon Lahore sort of opinion of it's not fair. Tottenham have finished 17th twice in a row, and yet they can spend, whereas Villa won the Europa League, they can't spend any money. Also, being on Sean's show quite a lot recently, he's expressed a bit of a concern. Is it sustainable for us to keep paying top prices, wages? Obviously, Marmoush is reported to be on about 290 grand a week, Tonali 250. Connor, are we in a position where we should be a little bit worried, or have we still got quite a lot of sort of leg room, if you like?
I haven't actually seen that Simon Jordan thing yet. I do need to watch that at some point, but it sounds surprising that he's... Yeah, I will do. And it sounds like I might have to do a Kate and ring into TalkSport and give him a lesson, because some of the stuff he comes out with, and Bill's right. I think the problem with him is since Levy's gone, Tottenham seems to be his target, doesn't it? And whereas before he used to stick up for his mate, didn't he? And I think he does that classic thing of using lots of big words to make himself sound very, very intelligent. But yeah, look, I think in terms of the question, the spending that we're doing now, which by the way, I'm massively supportive of, because this is what I've been calling for years, that we actually act like the size of club that we are, and we stretch ourselves and we have some ambition in the window, and we stretch ourselves both on transfer fees and wages, and we seem to be selling better this window. And it certainly is the case that I think this is the window we had to have off the back of, 2 17th place finishes as well. And I also think we've got an opportunity this year as well, because I think you've got a lot of clubs in Europe, you've got a lot of clubs in transition. You could easily see a situation, I think, if we do the right stuff in terms of the forward line, I'm sure we'll come on to it, whereby we could get ourselves back in the top 5 and back into Champions League very quickly. So I think it's absolutely the right thing we're doing. From a financial standpoint, I think this type of spending will mean that we do need to get back into the Champions League if we want to sustain this on a sort of in the sort of medium and longer term. We can't be finishing 17th anymore. Obviously, not just for footballing reasons and for all of our mental health as fans of the club, but also financially. the difference between finishing 17th and 5th is 50 million, even before you go with the Champions League money as well. So that would be 75, call it. You're talking 125 million pound of difference in revenue as a result of finishing 17th rather than 5th, if that were to happen again this year. So it's massive for the club. But yeah, so I think it's sustainable as long as we get ourselves back into the Champions League, which is the reason why I would go really hard this window and make sure that you get Marmoush and Savinho and another, be that Gakpo, say, or another attacker, just to make sure that you give yourself the best chance of getting back into that. But in terms of the rules themselves, Premier League squad cost ratio, we're fine. That's come in this year. You can spend 85% of your revenue and profit you make from player sales on wages and transfers. We're way below 85%, nowhere near that. When you get back into Europe, that falls down to 70%. So on a longer term basis,
Okay.
Tottenham will be trying to make sure that they don't breach 70%. We're probably at something like, I would guess, after all the spending that we've done, and if you assume Marmoush and Savinho are going to come in, somewhere between 60 and 70%. So we're still okay. The only one that we are going to breach, which was, I think Sean mentioned on the show
Yeah.
with you last night, there's another UEFA rule, which is called the football earnings rule,
Okay.
which is done on a slightly different basis, because that basically looks at your sort of full set of accounts. That includes things like the interest you pay on the loan and all this type of stuff. I won't bore you with all the details now, but we will breach that by a little bit. But all that will mean is like a €3 million fine. So you pay it,
Okay.
and then provided we get back into the Champions League, it'll be like a 1 year breach, and we'll be back to where we need to be. So I don't have any concerns with what we're doing. I think it's the right thing to be doing, and I think, ignoring all the accounting stuff and the finance stuff, thank God we're acting like a proper club, and we can all get a bit excited about the job, the work that we're doing.
Yeah. Before I come on to you, Billy, I just got to say a massive thank you to the legend that is Blano, Super Spurs TV, for the super chat saying diversion of sugar daddy taxes to Donut Butler. Big up, you bunch of beauties. Who then became a new member and then gifted 10 memberships. So incredibly generous, Blaine. If you've got a membership, please do make sure you thank him. Yeah, Blaine, you're an absolute legend. So generous in the community, and we appreciate it massively. So thank you very much. That's what really frightened me. I've got to be honest. I heard the word, we're probably going to get a fine. And I was like, uh-oh, what does that mean? What's happened? But now you've sort of explained it. It's not as bad as I thought. Billy, has any part of you thought to yourself, more looking forward, is this sustainable, what Spurs are doing, and wage structures and things like this? Or are you just embracing the fact that we're finally behaving like a big club?
Yeah, I'm definitely embracing the fact that we're behaving like a big club. But I always think that, the funny thing is about it all is, and this is what I was amazed that Daniel Levy never seemed to grasp, is that when you're a successful football club, you get more money anyway. So it's a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it? So when you spend a lot, you speculate to accumulate, but then once you start accumulating, you make a lot more money. It's like if you look at Arsenal's revenue compared to ours, they earn a lot more than us just because they're in the Champions League, and the Premier League finishing money is insane these days. Like,
Yeah.
finish third, second, first, or whatever, you get a ton of money. Champions League is a ton of money. With all that comes more sponsorships. With all that comes more brand deals. So, yeah, it would not be sustainable if we didn't get Champions League football. But you'd imagine with the signings that we're making and going to continue to make, and hopefully with the back in the manager, Champions League will be the minimum that we achieve. So I've always thought that was a bit of a blind spot of Daniel Levy, is that, yeah, you do have to gamble at some points and spend like this, but once you get there, the success breeds a lot more money anyway, so it pays back itself.
Yeah. I mean, Jimbo is something we spoke a lot about. I don't know how true it is that De Zerbi only wants Premier League proven players, but we are shopping in that market. But we are having to overpay at the moment because we haven't got the attraction of Europe and stuff. I mean, you've said it a load of times that eventually it hopefully will kind of even itself out, if you like.
Yeah, it's the first season of transition. It was always going to be tough this season. First of all, because we're not in Europe, to get players to come. So if you want the top players, and I think we have brought in top players. I've heard some people say, well, they're better than what you got. No, they're a lot better than what we got, most of them. It was always going to be, we had to pay a little bit more. The wages had to go up, okay? because you're not going to get these players in. And people think we're paying top wages. Some of these clubs pay 400-500 a week to their players. You know, we haven't gone over the 300 mark yet. So they're keeping it below 300. And I just knew that it was going to be, if they wanted to upgrade and they wanted to move up this table and start challenging for top four, they was going to have to spend money and up the wages. It was just it's a natural part of it, you know. So I was expecting this to happen, and people are saying, you know, we're overpaying for him, overpaying for that. We are initially, but as we get better and we move up the table, start getting top four and challenging, and then it start evening itself out because players will want to come. And if we're a successful club, you know, they'd be willing to take a good wage, but not take the P. At the minute, people can take the P out of us a bit for us to get them in. And the buying players, I mean, look, they're saying we started the trend. We never started the trend. You know, there's been teams paying massive money for players a lot before us. You know, it's just we've had to do it this season to get us on the road to being a successful team.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like Goat says, well, we've all said it, I'm sure, that they build a spine and then you can do a Man City and just add a couple each window. Someone did just ask, I don't know whether you'll be able to give a figure, but do you know how much we could actually realistically spend on top of what we've already spent? I know our net spend's, 70, 80 million or something. Is it as much as that? Do you know what we've got to spend?
Yeah, net spend's quite low, but the bigger issue is not just what we've spent in this window; it's the sort of collective spending over a number of years as well. And as I say, after having two back-to-back 17s, you've lost out on like 100 million, give or take, during those couple of years. Which is, again, to Bill's point, you know, this is why, please God, they finally learned to speculate to accumulate. As he said, he was spot on. I mean, this is again, I hate to talk about that lot down the road, but this is what Arsenal have realised under the Cronkies. And, you know, you don't have to go that many years back. We're talking like 3 or 4 years back, we had higher revenue than Arsenal, and now they're about to break the Premier League record for the highest revenue ever. So, you know, and because of all of the reasons Bill said. So this is what we got to do. In terms of what do I think we can spend now, I think Marmoush and Savino we could bring in, definitely. I think we could spend another 100, call it 140, 150 on there. You're probably going to pay them 200, 250 each combined, something like that in terms of wages. I don't actually believe that Marmoush is on quite as much as is reported. I reckon he's on probably lower 200s, given just where he moved from and how much Man City are paying other players. It will make sense for him to be in their like top 3, 4, 5. But nevertheless, yeah, you're gonna whack out a fair bit on them. For me, this is the reason why we got to sell Sarr as well. Definitely, Sarr should go. I think they should have a serious think about Bergval, given if you're talking 50, 60 million for him for what he's done so far, I think that's superb money. And look, it might come back to bite us. He might end up being a top talent, but this is what happens at big football clubs. They sell players that end up, you go, oh, that was a bit of a mistake. And then there's loads of examples. Look at the players that have left Man City, right? Who have gone on to be, Palmer, Rodgers, even more established players like Alvarez that they were still happy to sell. He's gone on to be a top player. But sometimes you've just got to do that. And I think Tottenham fans get very, very emotional whenever any player is for sale. It's like, I think it's probably because we've been through a number of years where it was either we sold players we really didn't want to sell, so everyone uniformly felt the same, like we don't want Bale and Kane and Modric, Berbatov to go, or they were absolute shit, so it was like, yeah, we want them to go. We're now going to have to start selling these players that are in the middle, like a Bergval, where the fan base is a bit split. But it's just what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to turn players over if we want to continue this model of signing top players. So, yeah, I think we can spend realistically another. I would say you could spend another 200 million and be okay. But obviously, if we sell Bergval and Sarr, that's helpful as well.
Yeah. I have got my new away shirt on, Carl. It's just you can't really see it. But yeah, it's on. Billy, just kind of touched on it there with the whole Bergval thing. Jimbo said today he fancies he's going to end up at Brighton. Are you one of the ones that would sell him, or would you keep hold of him? Where do you sit on it?
I'm completely on the fence with it, to be honest. I think I understand both sides of the argument. I think he has head turned a little bit in terms of De Zerbi this pre-season. I think De Zerbi is possibly slightly won a bit more favour with his performances in pre-season, which have not been, he's not stole the show like Luca Williams-Barnett or stuff like that. But I think De Zerbi's trusted him because he started the last 2 or 3 games, and I believe he could well be in line to start against Brentford if Fernandes is not fit. So he might even start our first Premier League game too. But at the same time, 60 million is just a lot of money to take, and I think overall we're pretty stacked in midfield. And I think the 2 starting midfielders are going to be Fernandes and Tonali. That's just a fact. And when you play 1 game a week, there's not going to be much opportunity for Bergwijn. There'll be more opportunity next season when we hopefully get back into Europe, and he will then be a homegrown player. So I think if we can wait out a year, then I understand that. But I think if enough 60 million comes in, I think that's too much to turn down for Bergwijn, to be honest. I would not be surprised to see him. I think we're lucky in the fact that there are, Newcastle, I know might be getting Gonzalez, but Forest, but Brighton, a bidding more would do wonders for us, really. Because if we can get 60 million for Bergwijn, I think he would have to go. And, but at the same time, if we didn't, I wouldn't be adverse to him saying, because I think he's gone up the pecking order. I think he seems to be above even Bentancur and everyone in there. I think he seems to be the next in line midfielder because he started the last couple of games, and Bentancur and Sarr and that have always been in the second team. So I think he'll get minutes, but he won't get many starts for Tottenham this year.
Yeah, I mean, I've been all along someone who said that if we can get 55, 60, we should sell him. Jimbo, are you still on that train, or has he impressed you in pre-season enough for you to say we should keep him?
Look, I see some of these young players, like you've got Williams, Barnett, Donnelly. I see stuff in them, but I don't see it in Bergwijn. Sometimes I listen to people on streams talk about Bergwijn, and I just think I just don't see it. I don't. He's going to be a decent player, but I don't think he's ever going to be a superstar.
Doesn't have the X factor. He doesn't have that X factor, does he?
No, he doesn't.
Very sort of industrial.
Yeah. That's right.
For me, he's gone backwards as well. I think that first year he did a good job in what was like, you go, okay, he's moved over from Sweden. The team's a shit show. He's had a decent season, and then last season, every time he played, I thought he looked poor. I'm not sure how many. For me, like, where Sava, Sava doesn't like him, and he asks this question a lot, and I think it's a fair one. He goes, "What is his standout trait?
Yeah.
What can he do well?" And
losing the ball.
Always says, Chase works hard, gets around the pitch.
Yeah.
And for me, if a midfield player, their best trait is they get around the pitch, it's like, well, let's stick Mo Farah in centre midfield. Then I want someone who's technically half decent.
And I think on that as well, I think when people see what Fernandes is going to be doing this season, and you compare him to Bergwijn, that's the level that he would have needed to be at. I think Fernandes
and similar age as well, Bill.
Yeah, same age. I think Fernandes will be a completely another level to what Bergwijn can do, and they are similar age. But at the same time, I wouldn't. I think if we were in Europe this season, Bergwijn would be a great squad player, but we're not. And if there's a bit more for him, good luck to him.
Yeah.
The other thing. Sorry, Billy. Go on.
Oh, no, I'm just reading Phil's comment about him being blonde.
Yeah,
I didn't know if you guys noticed in pre-season, it's quite hard to tell him and Van Heck apart, isn't it? So
I said that. I thought it was just me being blonde saying it, but yeah, it is. It's just golden everywhere.
You went all high pitched then. I said that.
What was you going to say, Jimbo?
See, the other thing is you got to think of the other side of the coin as well. You just don't think of our side. You got to think of his side, right? And I think to myself, he's a young kid trying to make it in football, and he will make a good living out of football. But I think if he stays at Spurs, it's going to hold him back. I think he needs to move on for his own benefit as well, because look, you can see the route we're going down. They're not going to stop at this window, Kate. They're not just going to spend this money and then stop. They want to progress. So next window, there's going to be other players coming in that are going to be in front of him. Then in the summer. So I think that it's for his own benefit. He needs to go and make his career, and he's not. I don't think he's going to do that at Tottenham.
Yeah, I would like to say, Roy, I've never been to a Spurs game, no matter how bad we are, where the Spurs shop is not ram-packed. It doesn't matter whether we are playing the worst football and losing every week. That shop is always rammed. And people have got, I mean, we're guilty. Every time we go to Spurs, we buy stuff, don't we, Jim?
Why are we
So don't go
guilty?
there. Well,
I
we just
Not
are.
guilty.
I don't know.
I love spending money there.
Yeah.
I went to the Spurs Super League protest back in the day, and even there, people from the protest were going to the Spurs shop. So there you go.
It's crazy, isn't it? But it's packed in there. I mean, I've seen people buying their kids every kit with different names on the back. It's always so busy. This is why I think Tottenham fans are the best, I'm afraid. Jimbo said it on Sean's earlier. I do think with all the shit that Spurs fans go through, we still have the resilience to stay by the club no matter what. And I think
I mean, that was one of the reasons I found it. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut across you. Why I found it so frustrating last year when you had journalists coming out blaming us for the fact that we were in a relegation battle. I mean, it was outrageous. That, as you say, what we've been put through for the last couple of years, and to still be selling out, every single away end, the home
Exactly.
end, and you can't get tickets away for love nor money, and the home ends and people singing and. I mean, and not rioting, to be honest, given how much
really
we're paying as well, and all it's crazy. The brilliant fans, and hopefully now we've landed on something with De Zerbi and what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
That will be reminiscent of Poch's era and brings a bit of happiness to everyone because we deserve it, I think.
we definitely do.
The thing is as well is I'm obviously I love Spurs so much. Well, it's a massive part of my life for so long. I won't spend my money nowhere else. I support my club. I used to I had a season ticket for 25 years. I had to give that up because we moved up here, and I never used my season ticket half the time because I was abroad working. But I spend my money at Tottenham because I wanna put my money into the club. It's not loads. We spend quite a bit in there, but on the grand scheme of things, it's nothing. But I won't buy anything from anywhere but Tottenham. It's
But
just the
on
way
the
I
flip
feel.
side, I also respect the people who were like Mad Enoch and Levy out who refused to go in the shop. For instance,
Yeah,
Brian
that's up
Davis,
to them. Yeah,
when we went to the Coach and Horses where we met Phil P for the football, Brian Daigle was there and he was actually offered a free ticket, but he refused. He said he'd never go in that stadium, all the while Enoch and Levy were there. And I've got massive respect for
yeah, of
people
course.
who do that as
Of
well.
course.
But for us personally, it don't matter who's there, they're my club and I'm always going to spend money supporting them.
Everyone's got their own way, and I respect whatever anyone wants to do, But I've got my way, and if people don't like it, I don't care.
That's it. Phil, we will let you know. We are going to sort out some games, aren't we, Jimbo, to get down
Yeah,
to the
definitely.
lane. Can't wait, actually, to see my guy, Tonali. And if my guy, Marmouche, is there as well, wow. But talking of Bergvall going, anyone else? Obviously, there's been rumours with Sarr. Tottenham apparently refused, turned down an offer for him today. Billy, who are you expecting to see go out? If for instance, if we get, say, a Gakpo or Marmouche, do you think Richie might go to Everton this window?
Yeah, I do. I think one of Solanke or Richarlison will go. It's not a sure thing. There's no way it's a sure thing. We might, because obviously Gakpo, Marmouche, Savino, none of them are out-and-out strikers. I know people will say Marmouche is a number 9, but he's not he's not a full-out. He's not a number 9 in the same way that Haaland is a number 9.
Yeah.
So we still don't have many actual proper strikers. So it wouldn't surprise me. But I just think, again, with one game a week, it's just too many people to keep happy. And I think Richarlison doesn't want to leave Tottenham. There's no doubt about that. He loves the club a lot. But I think if he's going to go anywhere, it will be to Everton. And then, De Zerbi says it publicly. The good thing about De Zerbi is he tells it how it is in the press. Funny all these transfer rumours and stuff. If you listen to De Zerbi most of the time, he'll tell you what's happening. He said that there's going to be some more attacking transfers. He said Richarlison might be going, so you don't really need any of these, these Twitter accounts telling us stuff. You just listen to the manager, really. And I think Richarlison is in two minds. And, again, it's a bit like Bergvall. I think it's probably 50-50 whether he goes or stays. But I think probably of the people we got left, Bergvall, Sarr, Richarlison, unless I'm missing anyone, I can't see anyone else other than that. I'm not, can't think of anyone else.
No.
I think it'll be them three. Obviously, Vicario's gone. So yeah, I think those three will go. I mean, I'm very
Maybe a
surprised
couple
if
of the
it's
kids like a Donnelly
yeah,
might go, or
Yeah.
those. But yeah, no one really else. I can't think from
yeah.
the
I
first.
don't tend to buy into this thing that you doggy might go just because I imagine that if we sold Spence, we wouldn't sell you doggy as well. But I know that rumor won't go away. But I'd be very surprised if we sold you doggy now. Sousa
Yeah.
might go on loan as well. There's another one I can think of.
Yeah. Jimbo, I don't think you read that properly because Paddy actually said, make sure you give me the dates in advance, my dear. Jimbo can stay home as I can't get him a ticket. So I don't.
I did
You
see
said
it. I did.
Oh, you
I saw
did.
it when you put it in the chat, and I was laughing. I wouldn't expect anything else from Paddy.
That's thrown me now thinking about that. Where did you sit, Connor, on the whole Jed Spence thing? The sale of Jed Spence.
If I had the choice, I'd rather we had kept him. Because it was good depth. Him being able to cover both fullback positions. I think he's a decent player, decent Premier League player, and I just didn't really feel it was something that we needed to worry about in terms of replacing. But that being said, I can see why he went. Um, it's very clear again. Bill's right. You listen to De Zerbi. I mean, he said a couple of times, hasn't he? He only wants people there who want to be there. That's as important to him as anything. And Spence quite clearly wanted to go. And fair enough, that might be because he wants first team football, a bit like the Bergvall analogy that Jimbo said. So I was happy for him to go. To be honest, after finishing 17th twice, there aren't many of the existing squad that I would have been like absolutely up in arms about going. If I could see why any of them might end up going, but yeah, so I can see why Spencer's gone. Hello.
Hello, Shawnee. You all right?
Hello.
Right, donuts.
Right, Shawnee?
Yes.
He couldn't stay away, could he? His favourite
No.
four people are on the show.
Big five. You've got the big five on now.
Good.
I had
Sean,
a
how
little nap.
are you?
I had a little nap, and then I woke up and I haven't had time to check. My phone's dead. I hadn't had time to check if any bombers dropped. So just wanted to make sure that we are live when bombers drop, just in case
Oh,
they
you've
drop.
missed one.
No, I haven't missed one. Have I missed one?
No, you haven't missed one. You haven't missed one. Connor was just explaining to us where we've done the financial stuff nice and early, get that out of the way. But someone just asked something, and I don't know the answer because I know PSR has changed now to this SCR, and someone put the sales count towards it, or is it only spend?
Yeah, so the way the squad cost ratio is you look at how much you're spending on wages and amortization, basically the transfers that are then spread over, and you divide that by your revenue plus the profit that you make on your player sales. But PSR is gone. It's been replaced by squad cost ratio.
Okay. Shawnee, we've said Saar, we've said Richie, we've said Bergvall. Are you expecting those three to go to this window? And is there anyone else on your list?
Mikey Moore on loan.
Yeah.
Yeah, good call.
Don't know. Well, I'm sure not priorities, but if Tottenham really want to get spicy and do all sorts of crazy things, then Udogie can go and Neco Williams, comes in. I mean, listen, Jimbo last night was talking about. We were saying, are we okay with two? Are we okay with two, everybody? And Kate's like, well, I think there might be time for three. And then Jimbo comes in and goes, no. It's going to be four.
Yeah,
Four?
he
Well, maybe
did.
there's five. maybe there's time for five. Neco, Munoz, the two we know about. Maybe a Gakpo. All right. And then get rid of Udogie. Get rid of Bergvall. Let's really tear up the script here. If we're going to tear things up, let's start again.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it'll just be the three players that we're thinking. I'm not even sure Bergvall will go, to be honest, but we'll see.
No, he might not.
Connor, obviously, from what you said at the start, where I asked you about Levy, and you and Billy both didn't want to answer the question. I'm guessing that I know your stance on him, but do you sort of accept that had Levy been here now? Like, not do you accept? Do you accept that where we are now is down to Levy, but also I I personally think, I think most people would agree that most of these deals that have gone through would not have gone through had Daniel Levy been in charge of the negotiations. If that made sense, it's a miracle.
It did. It did make sense, and it feels very contrived from you, Kate. That as soon as Sean joins and he wakes up from his nap, it feels like you're trying to get yourself a little clip here. um, but no, look, I think genuinely, I mean, Sean and I have had a number of discussions on this over the years, or year or so that I've known him. I've always, and I'm sure he would say that I've been true to this. I obviously fall the other side of the spectrum to him on Levy. I don't think Levy had a lot of flaws, and I think he was part of the problem, but not the problem alongside Enoch. But I've definitely always put more blame on Enoch as a whole, right, and the model that they decided to operate within. And I've often, said that Levy probably had to operate within those parameters, and obviously they've now changed that, right? So it's slightly unfair, I think, when fans go, everything has changed because Levy went, because Enoch have just decided to change their model as well, if you're being completely balanced. So even when you look at these deals, and I think I gave the example the other night in defence, actually, when people make the argument that Levy wouldn't have done these, Ndombele at the time was as big as any of these deals we're doing right now, if you take into account inflation, to be fair. That being said, I think what Levy would have balked more at, and it was shown by the thing, his text and all of that, is things like the Van Hecker deal, where you're paying 52 million for someone with a year left. He would have struggled with that. I think he would have struggled to get his head round, paying as much as we did for Fernandez and Tonali. And wouldn't have said, I think he would have tried to run that negotiation to later in the window to see if he could knock off 10 million, rather than get them in early and see that benefit. So I think that is definitely the case. On the first part of your question, is he to thank for where we are now? Not wholly, because I think a lot of it is because I think there is, but partly I will concede. I think he did a good job in terms of the property stuff. I think he benefits from that as much as we have
Yeah.
now as well, because at one day he'll sell his shares for a lot of money, and there's never anything that's done without self-interest. And I think there was the big Premier League TV money boom at the same time of being able to take over a club as big as Tottenham. But he definitely did a good job in terms of the property and infrastructure stuff, and so he gets part of the credit, not all of it. But in the same way, he doesn't take all of the blame either, only part of it. I think I'll meet in the middle.
Yeah. What?
Can I just quickly?
Rebuttal, because I can't
No,
remember
not a
what I was
rebuttal, because I
going
think it's very reasonable. I think Connor's very, very fair and reasonable. It's been the last 18 months that I've known Connor. It's been incredibly difficult to get an argument out of him, to get wound up to the point where we're screaming and shouting at each other, because he's always willing to concede the areas where Levy did do things, and he feels strongly about the things he did badly. So it's very difficult to get now, come on now, we did it. We don't get there often, and I respect it. But the one thing I will say is that I cannot wait, despite how much I'm absolutely loving this transfer window thus far, if there is an announcement in 12 months' time, having seen Tottenham finish 5th, that we face a UEFA probe for breaching SCR, I can't wait to drop the thumbnail saying, would never have happened if Levy was still here. Hello? I'm just saying, 25 years, not an FFP infraction in sight. He's gone, the new lot come in, suddenly we're over the line.
Connor, is there any rebuttal to that, or is he right?
We won't get a squad cost ratio, but we will get the football earnings rule breach. We will get that. That fine is going to happen. So he can get that thumbnail ready now. To be fair, that will happen.
Choo-choo!
But
Choo-choo!
I'm sure he will say in his longer spiel once he gets there that it was the right thing to do as well, because it cost us €3 million.
Yeah, of course, 100%.
Just finishing up before I come to you, Billy. Just with you, Connor. Are you still Enoch out? Are you? I'm going to give them a bit of time because it looks like things are changing, but they've got to be consistent with it. Where's your thoughts on the board at the minute?
One swallow doesn't make a summer. I think they've got a lot to prove still. And after finishing 17th back to back, they almost had to have a window like this, right? And I think that probably scared them. It's quite funny after all of that debate before around delegation versus, is going to make them change versus if we manage to stay up, is it? It's interesting where that's now landed. So no, I am still ENIC out as it stands. That being said, though, I'm willing to accept that they've made the right types of movements this window. Let's hope that carries on. And obviously, I don't have any control over it, so it doesn't really matter what I think. But obviously, it would not be the right time to protest or anything like that. I still think I think they're finally operating the way that they should have operated for a number of years.
Yeah.
And that isn't just because Levy's gone. This is what ENIC should have done for a number of years, all encompassing of Levy as well.
Are you feeling about the same, Billy? Because I know we did speak previously about protesting being on hold because, there's nothing to protest about at the minute. But are you still wary of the board kind of wait and see sort of view?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I think is about that is what I think about, everything in terms of that is they said the actions will speak louder than words, and so far the actions are speaking louder than words, and that's the way it's got to continue. And as soon as that doesn't happen, then the fan unrest will continue. But I think I always point to when people ask that, and this was even before this summer. I always said the same thing: is that when we had Pochettino and we were, it felt like as a fan we could genuinely win a league title, and it felt like as a fan we could actually win the Champions League with Tottenham. There's no protest then, and there's no ENIC out stuff going on. There's no noise of people meeting outside and shouting ENIC out and stuff. Fans just want to feel connected to their football club at the end of the day. And at the moment, it feels like not just because we're spending loads of money, but it feels like we're actually being connected to our football club again. You've got stuff like the Legends stuff happening. You've got the manager is obviously very, very good, and people are bought into the manager. I think in terms of protesting and all that kind of stuff, people just want to believe in their football club at the end of the day. And at the moment, there seems to be a lot to believe in, and you just got to hope that continues. So, as long as that, I think in terms of ENIC, in terms of any football club, you just want to know that your football club is at least has a plan and is going in a direction, an upward direction. And at the moment, it certainly seems that way. So yeah, of course, it would be absolutely ridiculous to say we should protest in the the first game of the season, and but you just want to feel connected and feel like your club's heading in the right direction. At the moment, you have to say it does feel like that way. But again, one window. We spoke this earlier about Arsenal, didn't we? And the way that Arsenal won the league title is by doing this every window for about 6 consecutive years, and eventually got them a league title. You have to improve every single transfer window, and you have to go and improve the first team 11 every summer and every summer and every summer. It's a relentless amount of money that you have to do it to get there. But so it's a long-term thing. But they said in their statements that actions will speak louder than words, and we've heard that so many times. And actions haven't spoke louder than words historically, but this summer it's fair to say that they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, like Bill raises a really good point there about feeling, I don't want to go over Tottenham and feel like I want to be as part of a protest or, holding up a yellow banner at the end of the game or feeling like I don't want to go into the shop and spend any money, to use the Jimbo thing from earlier. Like I'd much rather be standing on the bus parade, cheering the bus in next to Sean, drinking Magnums and having a laugh and, and doing all of that stuff that we did do and got criticised for doing even and cancelling the protest.
That was a great day.
Yeah, it was a brilliant day.
Good
day.
The only bad part about the day was the football that followed against Forest.
Yeah, the game was awful. The rest was good. So yeah, and for me, my thing always with the owners has been I just want to know that their full focus is on football, and they will stretch themselves and be ambitious. And as long as that is happening, then I think we as fans can feel like have they done everything they can to put Tottenham in the best position? That's why I never judged it on. A lot of ENIC outers would say things like, "Oh, we've only won 2 trophies in 17 years." Blah blah. That would be. For me, it was the fact that we didn't give ourselves the best opportunity to win those. I don't think Tottenham have a God-given right to win trophies. We shouldn't win the league every year. There's a lot of other big, massive clubs bigger than us, and but I want us to do the best that we can do, and maybe that will start to change.
Yeah, I mean, surely, Jim, was you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say that what Billy said about spending the money. It's the initial thing we have to spend big initially, But once we get the base of the team, and now it seems like we're going to have the base, and we're still going to have good players on the bench. They just need to top up, Kate. They don't need to
Yeah.
go out spending,
100%.
300-400 million every window. They just need to top up with two or three, maybe two, maybe it'd be enough. Top players, and it just keeps you going. If you look at teams like Man City, that's all they did for all them years. 10 years they were winning trophies, and they just topped up every window, and that's where we got to get to. But with this window being so good, right, if it finishes off like we expect it to, we're halfway there already. So
Yeah.
And it's not even about this expenditure, is it? It's about quality. I mean, you look at
yeah, of course,
you
yeah. I
know,
look,
if they got the right recruitment, like Arsenal getting that Solis for 35 million, that's nothing in terms of spend, is it? But it's just about making the right football decisions.
yeah.
Yeah.
When you look at it, Billy, some of the prices we've paid for players in the past, it's just a waste of money. They buy two players, say for 80-90 million. They was better off going to buy one player who was a top player instead of two mediocre players. It's false economy.
Mm. Buy cheap, buy twice. That's what you always say,
Yeah,
Jimbo.
Yeah,
What you-
100%, 100%.
It's what you always say. Shawnee, Kevin Cook says, are ENIC acting the way they are down to this being the new ENIC, or are they acting the way they are because they dodged a bullet last year and can't afford a repeat of it this year? What do you think?
No, I don't think they're the new ENIC. I think they're trying to prove a point. I think they could have done this at any point in time in the last 3 years. I respect the difference
At
between what
least
we were
that,
doing
yeah.
pre-stadium, post-stadium, even the first couple of years post-stadium, the cost and the deficit, if you like, in it hadn't sort of filtered through yet. And then there was COVID and stuff, right? So there's all those sorts of. But in the last couple of years, last 2 or 3 years, they tried to sort of push the boat out a little bit the summer before, but they just failed with all their targets for one reason or another. And but yeah, I mean, for sure, I think this was always going to happen eventually. I think it was all. I said a couple of years ago. I said at some point, I was a little bit early on the call, but I said I'm pretty sure that we're going to have £100 million signing this within the next sort of 12, 18 months. I think it ended up taking about an extra years to get there. But I think that they're trying to prove a point. I think that they're trying to do everything they can to sort of win a little bit of a fake argument to try to distance himself from whatever Daniel Levy did. Like, this is what I would say. Like, clearly he has done something. Either they are just outrageous people that are just sort of going, you know what, it was all him, and it wasn't really him because they were all part of the same problem, and it was the Lewises that had the access to the resources, and so they could have done it any previous time. But with that whole sort of story with regards Sharrington coming in and sort of being a fly on the wall, I mean, we may or may not ever find out the rumours or the truth around what it was that was going on. But for Daniel Levy to go from being the steward of that club for 25 years to being frog marched out the door, not even allowed to pick up his teddy bear mascot off his desk or whatever, there must be some story there about him doing something or alleged to have done something. I say allegedly. I don't want the litigation, but I wouldn't bring it on your channel either. But there must be something that's gone on behind the scenes that was really egregious of Daniel Levy's behaviour to either I don't know, try and get some investment in, but make sure he's getting his, or they figured out that there was some skimming off the top. I don't know. I speculate. Probably shouldn't. But I feel like something's gone on. But in the overall question around whether or not ENIC are why are they different now? I don't think they've suddenly had a lobotomy and then decided to change. I think there's a combination of they got away with one with the relegation. They probably felt like relegation was never a realistic jeopardy, and it turned out that it was. And it's probably given a wake up call to a lot of clubs actually, because you're only a couple of bad decisions away from the cash cow being cut off. And I also think there's a point that's trying to be proven by these guys that that was all on him and this is us and we're trying to do something, which is fine. Whatever it takes to get them to move the needle is absolutely fine. But I'm a little bit concerned. Connor will probably know whether there's reason to be concerned here or not. But I know that the Tottenham fans are like any other football fan. It's all cool now, but if, for example, Savinio or Marmoush falls apart last minute, there'll be riots if we don't end up getting any forwards in. So everything else that's happened is completely forgotten. And even if we do bring in these guys, there'll be riots next summer if there's not enough money left over to go again, because it's a "what have you done for me lately" type of thing, right? It's not my money, it's not my money, is the kind of narrative. Okay, cool. So if you don't care when it's not your money, then will you also equally not care if we spend all of the money now and there's not that immediate jump to success? What happens if there's too much change too soon on the playing park? What happens if De Zerbi has a meltdown for whatever reason and then throws his toys out of the pram and wants to go? I don't want to invoke any of these things into the zeitgeist, but there's a plausible scenario whereby we don't have a sensational season, where we do end up finishing 12th or 13th or something like that, where there's more injury crisis, where De Zerbi pisses off, and then we have to try and go again next summer, and then there's no money left in the world to do it because of either breaching SDR or getting close to that proximity, or the fact that the owners sort of gone, well, we put a lot of money in, we can't do it forever. They sort of run out of that initial enthusiasm, and then the fan base turns on them again, because the fan base is very fickle, isn't it? Like they'll jump behind something, and then they'll jump against it very quickly if the wind changes direction. So I don't know, but I would say that ENIC for me, I'm probably in Connor's camp, which is cool, pat on the back for having a decent summer so far. Finish the job now, but you haven't necessarily got yourself into a situation because of one summer whereby every Tottenham fan is going to be singing your name, like some very few amount of fan clubs have the ability to do about their ownership.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
You're such a party pooper, Sean.
I only say that on your channel. On my channel, I'm not doing any of that stuff. I know that I'm sure the numbers just dropped off. I'll come in and throw the spanner in the works on this channel. On my channel, it's all good. It's all good.
To be fair, it's spot on what he said. We all know how fickle the fan base is. But Jimbo, I was just going to ask you something that Billy touched on. It does feel like there's a concerted effort being made at the club to try and bring everyone back together. You've had the Legends thing, and even just little things like the announcement videos for the transfers this season, I think have been brilliant, bringing in ex-players and doing it that way. We saw Roberto De Zerbi today actually get out of his car to have photos done with all the kids at the training ground. Do you think they know us, like, distant we all felt from the club? Because last season, or in fact for the last 3 seasons, I've never felt so disconnected from Tottenham as I did, and last season was like the cherry on the cake. So do you think they're making this real effort to bring everyone back together?
Yeah, they needed to, Kate. Look, I'm one Tottenham fan. I went into a depression over it. I was really, really down, and it really affected me. You know that. You live with me. And that's just me. How many fans do you think it affected? A football team, right, a football club is millions of people's release, right? It's their some people haven't got a lot in their life apart from their football team, right? And there's people with a lot in their life, but their football team is still high up on that list. It's massive in people's lives, Kate. And when look, we had that delivery guy deliver the other day, and you went, "Coy, you look miserable," and he went, "Well, I'm a Sheffield Wednesday supporter. Our club's in so much crap." I mean, it affects. It doesn't matter what club you support. If things are going bad, it affects you. And this is what they did. They did this the way everything was going, and they disconnected everybody. We saw people arguing hand over fist over the club, and it needed to be pulled back together. And I think this is what De Zerbi's done fantastically so far. He's starting to unite everything again. You go on 8 out of 10 YouTube channels, and it's all good. Everybody's smiling and laughing. I watched Last Word on Spurs this morning, and it was all smiles on there. And you watch others, We Are Tottenham TV or whatever, and everybody's smiling and enjoying it. If you did last year, it wasn't that. Everybody was depressed. Slumped in their chairs. And this is what football does to people. So they needed someone like De Zerbi to bring it back together. And that's what he's doing. I think he's doing a good job at doing that. And when we get on the pitch and we start kicking everybody's ass, it's going to be even better again.
Billy, I will come to you on this one. Going on to the transfers, obviously this window, I think, well, if we get the players that we're allegedly supposed to be getting, it will be incredible. But there is this real nagging feeling with me that we can have a problem at number 10 with the number 10 position, because Maddison, we all know that he's not the most reliable player in the world. Xavi Simons is injured. You know, Kudu, I don't want to bring it down, Jimbo, and be a party pooper, but it is something that concerns me. Is it a position that you think we need to work on, but this season, like this window, we've got more important things we've had to do? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because we have some unbelievable number 10s and all of them are largely injured. I mean, you even get Kudus thrown into the mix. Apparently, there's talk that De Zerbi fancies him at number 10 because that's where he wanted to play him at Brentford. You got Xavi, you got Kulusevski who can play there, Maddison can play there, all coming off the back of long-term injuries. What I will say is, De Zerbi is a big fan of Conor Gallagher. So I think Conor Gallagher is a player there a lot this season. And I know that's maybe not the fashionable choice of fans, and we'd all love to have a creative player like Xavi or Maddison there, but Conor Gallagher is going to start a lot of games there for us this season. I can guarantee you that, because De Zerbi loves him. So, I think we'd all wouldn't it be brilliant to have Maddison and Kulusevski playing there? But the fact is, Conor Gallagher will play a lot of games there because he's very well suited to, off the ball what the De Zerbi likes. So, long term, what I would look to be doing is, if those three I mentioned there, I love all three of them dearly. If they continue to have poor injuries, we might have to look to move them on and then get Gibbs White in. But I think that'll be next summer rather than this summer, because Gibbs White's not going to leave this summer, unfortunately.
Yeah. What about yourself, Connor? I mean, are you concerned about number 10? Is there any areas you don't think we've addressed? Obviously, I'm talking as though these two are going to happen, which we don't know if they are. But were you at the stage where you were panicking a couple of days ago? What's that, Shawnee?
You guaranteed it was happening earlier.
Well, I think it is, and I will still sit here and say 1,000,000% it's going to happen. Marmoush and Savinho.
I can guarantee you that.
I've just ordered my Savinho top from OK.
Go on, Billy.
On your guarantee. What are we doing here?
Yeah, because it's going to happen, Shawnee, and if it doesn't, I'll pay for the bloody shirt.
Can I answer the question? Can I answer the question if Connor was panicking or not? Because
go on, answer.
We had a lot of exchanges. Not arguments, but we have a group chat where we had a lot of Connor messages. Put it that way.
I know we're all very, very happy now with these rumours, and but I was definitely panicking, and I'm still a bit pissed off that we're going into the Brentford game likely with a front three of Moore, Richarlison, and Tell. And Sean, don't jump on Tell. I don't hate Tell, don't worry. But just generally, I think that we should have signed some attackers by now, and I think that's my one. Even if these deals happen, it's a shame it wasn't a bit earlier, but I'm sure we'll all get over it if they do happen. But yeah, in terms of the 10 thing, I agree with Billy. It's really frustrating for me because at full strength, I'd say we've got the best 10 depth in the league. Actually, I think it's as strong as that. You go Maddison, Kulusevski, and Simons. I mean, that's pretty. And as he says, Kudus who could play there as well. I'm a huge Maddison fan, as you've probably seen from Sean's chat when we've had the conversation about him being captain or not. Yeah. And I think, Sean, I caught a bit of your show where you pulled up some of the numbers that he's delivered in, and that's the point I've always made. The goals and assists from Maddison, he does really brilliant numbers for a number 10 when he's fit. The key point is, can he stay fit? And I'm hoping, one game a week, no European football. Hopefully this is the year we get to see him play more, and it does seem like from pre-season things that De Zerbi's being a bit more mindful of rotating, and the medical team with Dan Lewington in now, hopefully they will be as well. So hopefully that means Maddison's okay. I can't see us signing a number 10, to be honest, on top of this stuff that we're doing. And I think as long as we can make some attacking signings, you then do have the option of potentially moving Kudus into the middle. You put Tell on the left and Savinho on the right or whatever. That potentially works. So I think it's going to be interesting, and I think that De Zerbi is going to play a different way, isn't he, to what we've seen over the last the last year or so. So that's exciting.
And I have to say as well, because I've always been very confident on Savinho, but I've wobbled a bit this week as well. I have to say I was panicked. I'm definitely starting to hit the panic button myself too, and we've spoken about it a lot back and forth, and I can't believe that he's not signed for us already. I mean, he's not even training with Man City this week, and
I know.
luckily that Ornstein tweet dropped just about the right time. So I think if it had gone another day, I think the fan base would have gone into meltdown, to be honest. So it's just about on the edge of meltdown. And then we've got the Ornstein news. So I know it's still, you can definitely completely agree with Connor that you could still argue that it's too late because we're going into the Premier League season a bit undercooked at the moment. But yeah, I was on the edge of panicking myself, definitely, without a doubt.
I mean, Shawnee sort of dissected me the other day because I wasn't panicking. It was like, why? I need to understand why you're not panicking, Kate. Why? Why are you not panicking? Everything's under control. I said it. Just be calm. I said Johan Lang, love him or hate him, he has a reputation of doing things quietly and trying to keep it quiet. And I had full faith that everything was going on, and I have full faith that both of these deals are going to get over the line. I gave 1,000,000% guarantee on Shawnee's, and I stand by it. But Maddison, for me, I personally think this will be his last season at Spurs. I've just got a feeling. And I think, Connor's agreeing. That's why I think he's going to get the captaincy. You're muted, Connor, but you've got to unmute because you're agreeing with me.
There we go. Yeah, no, I am agreeing because as much as I really rate him, I think I could see, I don't know. He's been here a few years now. It's probably coming into the last year, or if not the last year, the last 2 years of his contract. He's 31 or something. I think a season with Europe. I could see him if Coventry stay up, going back to Coventry, say something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I do really rate him when I think he's technically brilliant, and I also think on the whole captain thing, just very quickly, as I said in the chat that we're in, I think he's a fantastic representative of the club, to be honest, in the way that he portrays himself and the way he talks in interviews and the way you can see it gets around the young players and all of that type of stuff, not in a weird way. Yeah, I'm a big Maddison fan.
Just had a little bit of breaking news on Twitter that apparently Mikey Moore's moved to, nothing exciting, guys. It's not a bomber, it's a mini bomber. Mikey Moore's moved to Cole and is expected to go ahead after the weekend.
Wow. So they are letting him go. They're going to probably play him on Saturday, do we think? And then letting him go, or do you think they'll rest him?
I think they'll start him, and then Savinho and Marmoush will come in, and Gakpo, and then he'll go on loan.
Yeah.
And what happens if he scores a hat-trick on Saturday, though? What are we going to do then?
Yeah. Surely, Connor speaks about Maddison there and how good he is. And I agree. The way he speaks about the club, the fact they're doing an interview and, he is proper coys. But is that what you want from a captain? Is he your captain?
I don't think he is my captain. I think he's too much of a, I don't know. He plays with his hair all the time. He's always pushing his hair back. He's always like...
Grealish does that as well.
Who?
Grealish.
Yeah, and I don't rate that about him either. I think it's only because I haven't got any hair to play around with. That's like...
You're sizist and you're hairist.
No, I'm not. I'm professionalist. I feel like for me, I wasn't a massive fan of the idea of Sonny being captain because I always felt like he was just too jovial and young at heart and like an unbelievable player. And he, needed to be captain because it would have broken his heart had he not been for his last year or whatever. And I get all that sentimentality. But for me, I think that there's like 5 or 6 different reasons why I probably wouldn't have Maddison. One is he's not available all the time. 2 is I feel like he's a bit of a joker. I think he likes to mess around and all that sort of thing. And I feel like you need a captain to have the authority to scream and shout in people's faces. And I don't know if James Maddison, similar to Sonny, I don't know if I'd be intimidated by someone that, because I just feel like there's a blend between accessibility and familiarity. I just feel like some people have that natural kind of authority and where people respect and sort of when they talk, everyone else shuts up and sort of does what they're told. With James Maddison, I feel like if there was ever a time where he needed where there needed to be like a pull yourself by your bootstraps kind of conversation, I don't know if he's articulate enough. He's very articulate.
Yeah,
you could definitely put the right words in the right order. But I think there's a load of reasons why I don't think he's the outstanding obvious candidate. But then at the same time, I don't know if there's too many others that are either. I don't think Mickey van der Ven's behaviour last year, as far as we're aware, I think he's got a little bit more seriousness about him potentially. But I feel like he like I say, I think he acted a bit petulant last year in difficult moments. And then you've got other players that maybe are decent candidates like Pedro Porro, but I feel like you need to speak English as your captain. And I don't know if Pedro Porro speaks the language well enough. But I don't know if there's an outstanding candidate. Had Polinia still been at the club, I would be saying he should be the captain, but he's not. So
what about Robbo? He's won everything.
Yeah, but he's been here 2 seconds, so I don't know if you can. But then at the same time, 3/4 of the squad have been here 2 seconds now, haven't they? I don't know. Maybe Robertson's an option, but again, will he play every game? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not that bothered about the conversation, though, to be honest, which is surprising considering I've just taken 7 minutes to give you my answer. But I do feel like
content's got a content, Jordan.
Spill salt and pepper. Get those what gels up. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not that. I don't think there's an outstanding candidate. If it's him, it's fine. But I don't like the fact that he plays with his hair every fucking second. Do you remember David Bentley used to do that? Bentley would get tackled, and when he'd stand up, the first thing he'd do would be to fix his hair. Like, what are we doing here, mate? What are we doing here?
That's modern man. Modern men, though. No offence, but it is, isn't it? My nephew's got hair like Jack Grealish, and he's always playing with his hair. I mean, he's gorgeous.
I don't rate it. I don't like it.
Jealous. Jealousy's a terrible
absolutely trait. Jealous. Absolutely jealous. I'm jealous of the fact that they can still see their member. I haven't seen mine in years. Right? I'm jealous of the fact that they've still got 60 years of a good life in front of them. I've probably got 6 months. I'm jealous of a lot of things in life. But you asked me a question. I don't think he's an outstanding captain candidate. No.
Yeah. Before I come to you, Jimbo, big up Danny Kiriakou for the 5 memberships that went to Vinny, Phil P, Lee B, James Flower, and Dan Housen. So thank you, Danny. Very much appreciated, my lovely. Jimbo, I know your answer, but you wouldn't look past Maddison, would you? It'd always be your choice.
No, it'd be my choice every day of the week. I think that they respect him. You don't need to scream and shout at people to get your point across, Sean. If you're a good captain and you speak, they're listening. I think that he's got the respect.
Jimbo, you're talking to the guy who screams, "You're winding me up" into a camera at least 20 times in an hour. Is where you and I are not on the same page, bro.
That's mostly at Kate. I think he's the ideal captain, Kate. It's just people see things in different ways, and I think when I watch him speak about the club, he just loves this club. And last season when we was in trouble and he was giving interviews, you could see the pain. And I just think that he'd be a good captain. He would be my choice without any doubt.
Yeah, I like I said on our show before, Jimbo, I'm not sure captains are that important anymore. I know you think they are. I don't think they are. Yeah, I'm not sure they are.
As long as you've got loads of leaders in the team, and we do now. We've got Robertson, Tonali, Archie Gray, lovely leader in there. You've got leaders in the team, that's all that matters. Toby and Jan were never captains of Tottenham, but they certainly felt like it.
Yeah, exactly. Big up Danny as well.
I just want to go back a minute when Billy said we were talking about Gallagher. He done an interview, De Zerbi, with Gallagher, and they were getting asked questions. And he did say, De Zerbi, that Gallagher needs to start chipping in with more goals and assists. So I think they'll be working on that with him in the 10 role. So I'm not worried.
Yeah.
Oh, Gallagher's not a bad shout for captain, you know.
Who?
Conor Gallagher, I think he's a bit of a leader.
Oh no, he's proper.
If he was
hair? He's got longer hair than
Madison.
He's got longer hair than Madison.
It's not about having hair; it's about what you do with your hands when you have hair. And by the way, just super quick, Connor, super quick. Okay, you cannot tell me that Madison and his fucking hairdresser have not had an influence on the young kids in our academy. Archie Gray, bless him, is trying to grow his hair out. Right, when he's got those curly locks, he looks more like fucking Anthony Gordon, right, than he does look like a fucking supermodel. Like, it's not for some people. For others, it is. Conor Gallagher is a good-looking lad. He's got lovely golden locks. He doesn't sit around playing with it all day long, and he doesn't have the band in his hair, the Alice band, whatever you call it. There's good influence and there's bad influence. And if I see one more 19 to 21-year-old in our academy walking around with a fucking booth on, I'm going to scream.
That's the style, though, Sean. That's the trend.
Because they're all trying to emulate Madison.
It's now making sense why Sean loves Daniel Levy so much, isn't it?
Yeah, he's
No hair.
bald.
No hair.
No hair, no
Flavor.
nonsense. That's what I'm talking about. You know?
What was you gonna
And
say?
he's pissed off at Simon Jordan now today, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
He's the original
Um,
Madison, Simon Jordan.
What was you going to say, Connor? When Shawnee was in, can you remember? But you forgot now.
No, with Gallagher, I was just going to say that I personally think Gallagher's a bit overhated. I think it became a bit of a thing because we didn't have a profile of a passer in midfield. So when we signed him in January, I think everyone got a bit. I think he's a really useful player to have in the squad. I think he's a top pro. I think he can play 6, 8, 10 if you need him to. The wage is fine if he's on that much. Who actually knows if he's on that much anyway? And as to Jimbo's point earlier, wages in football, I think they're underbaked for a lot of players, and don't believe what you read because Liverpool's average wage for their whole squad is 165 grand a week. So footballers earn a lot of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I like Gallagher, and I do see Sean's point about it. I mean, he was captain at Chelsea, wasn't he? So
And Palace.
he
You're not
obviously
Palace
he's
now?
one of them lead by
Captain,
example types, I think.
Captain for Pochettino.
Yeah,
Yeah.
With Poch, yeah.
I agree with Connor 100% there. 100%.
I tried to skip over that because I was waiting for you to go, see, Kate, Gallagher's a really useful player because I'm one of the people that don't really like him that much.
Tonali, captain, maybe? Tonali's got. You'd be terrified of him, wouldn't you? I think.
I would.
The authority,
So,
definitely.
how about potentially our next 20 GA a season winger superstar Matisse Tell? I think a little
Super mentality tell.
Gray and imagine Gray captain, Tell vice captain.
Mentality. It's all about mentality. That's what we're going to rebrand because he's a strong. The mentality on the man, strength of the man, eh, Billy?
Strength of the man, indeed.
Big up, Sonny. Got a membership and for the super chat as well. It says great show as usual. I don't know where this has come from. John George says Tottenham are eyeing a move to sign France striker Jean-Philippe Mateta Tata. I don't know where that's come from. But Billy, you seem quite confident that these Marmouche and Savinio signings are going to happen. Are you excited, happy, underwhelmed, overwhelmed?
Yeah, that's dreamland. I'm, really excited about both of them. I think Savinio is going to be really impressive, actually. Marmouche is obviously a bit of a flashier name. And then I also think we're going to sign Cody Gakpo as well. So I think that it's just wild, really, isn't it? That's just, suddenly going to have loads of forwards in the gaff. So, I'm very excited about those two signings if we get them done, which I do think that we will. Very exciting. How can you not be at this point? Marmouche, a double transfer for Man City, 150 million. It's just...
Bill, can I ask you a question?
Crazy stuff, isn't it? You can.
So my theory on, and I think Connor said something there that actually makes my theory even more absolutely button tight regarding why people have this disproportionate hatred for Matisse Tell is because of the money, how much he cost, the opportunity cost of what we could have done, and then sort of slightly underperforming. He didn't come out of the traps and immediately smashed it out of the park, right? Came with a name, a little bit of a name for a youngster, cost quite a lot of money, didn't smash it. The fan base weren't happy generally, go after him. Hopefully he's going to turn that around and make everyone realise that he's a good player in the future. Conor Gallagher, I think, is another perfect example of something similar. He walked into he was the one person that came in during a disappointing January transfer window. Mood in the fan base was dog shit. Yep. Everyone sort of lanced onto him because of his wage and everything else. Is there not the possibility that, given how long Savinio has dragged out, that not only is the bomber going to be a bit of a damp squib because we've been talking about it for a year, but also when he comes in and he's costing 90 million quid, even though we might now know, thanks to Jimbo's unbelievable insight earlier on, that there's sort of some chicanery going on in the way that Frankfurt are getting absolutely annihilated in the negotiations. Right, absolutely, absolutely rinsed. But the fact that he's going to come in with that price tag, and the fact that it's a damp squib, is there going to be additional pressure on Savinio, and that you might have elements of the fan base that at the first time he mishits the ball, first time he balloons it over the bar, first time he runs it into corners and doesn't come out with a good outcome, that you're going to have sections of the fan base that are going to react negatively towards him because of the standards and the pressure, and also the template that has been set, the precedence has been set for Tell and for Conor Gallagher?
Without a doubt, and without a doubt, I think that applies to any single one of our players. To be honest, I think particularly. So I think so. You're right, though. I think Sabudio is going to get it more than anyone because of the transfer fee and because of how long it's taken. And you already see it. People questioning his golden assist last season and stuff like that. So yeah, I think he's without a doubt. What I would say though is, if and it's weird because I'm a massive Tell fan as well. But if there's one thing the Tottenham fan base love, it's a winger, isn't it? And I think Savinho, because he's a very exciting winger, who's going to take people on all the time. There's a chance that the fan base could fall in love with him pretty quickly, but there's also an equal chance that they won't, and he'll crumble under the weight of pressure. But that is the game, isn't it? So, but yeah, I think I'm certainly right by that. And I think, what I would say is I think the players and Matis Tal has been a victim to this. I think all of our players from last season have been a victim of it. They've been playing in absolutely horrendous systems and horrendous managers. I think just from having De Zerbi, these players are going to look so much better than they did last season in general. So I think there'll just be an uplift of the whole squad in general. And, hopefully a lot of these players will look good because we have a bloody good manager now. And I include Tell in that as well because, look at him pre-season. He's been outstanding for me.
Yeah.
The problem for me with like the Tell, and look, I'm definitely not as high on him as Sean and Bill is, although I think Sean does it a little bit in response to people being so hard on him, which is basically the point I was going to make. I think the expectation of Tell was really unfairly set on him. He's 21 years
he's
of
8 months
age.
older than Mikey Moore, Tell. 8 months older
Yeah,
than Mikey
exactly.
Moore.
And look, he looks night and day compared to Mikey Moore. Let's be honest about it. Like, he's considerably better than Mikey Moore. And he should never been in the situation where, he's the starting left winger and you're putting that much expectation. He's a young player with a lot of, big prospect, a lot of talent. He needs time to develop. And so hopefully by signing these players that we're after, he'll get that chance, he'll get their minutes. I think he's a useful player and he, we were joking earlier about his mentality. He definitely has a top mentality. I mean, even the sort of the news with the whole, how he was not in the Champions League squad and then was back in and all of that. That's quite tough for a young player to take, and I thought he took that in his stride really well. So yeah, I'm very happy to keep Tell. What I don't want, to be honest, is that we just have a Tell and an Odebert, and we don't have the established players in front of them to achieve what we want to achieve. But in terms of having him as a player we can develop, I'm interested to see what happens with him under De Zerbi.
Yeah. Michael asked this question. I don't know anything about it, so I'm going to ask you, Levy. Levy. I was going to call you Levy then, Connor. Oh my God. I apologise. That's outrageous. That's
I was
worse
about
than,
to rage quit then.
that's worse than Sean calling Hugo Eugene. What happened with the charge listed on Company's House? Is there more money being loaned? I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, Tottenham have done the thing that they did last year where they've taken out a facility with Macquarie to basically borrow some cash now in return for Premier League money that's going to come in the future. So last year we did it. We borrowed against the Premier League revenue that was going to come. They've done it again. A lot of football clubs do it. You pay, say, probably 6 to 7% interest on the money, but then you get the cash now rather than having to wait for it. So it's just a cash flow thing. Probably because of the money we're looking to fork out this window.
Yeah.
To get these deals done.
So
it's nothing to worry about.
If we get in the Savinho, Marmoush, Gakpo, which Billy seems quite confident about the three, which is giving me a little bit of life. Our ratio, our SCR and our percentages and all those things you were talking about earlier, we're still comfortable. We've got nothing to worry about now.
Yeah, squad cost ratio will be still below 70%, which is the lower European one.
Okay.
It's just this football earnings rule that I was talking about earlier because it's
Yeah.
a slightly different calculation. We will breach that a little bit, but to be honest, we'll breach that even if we don't sign Marmoush and Savinho and Gakpo. We're already over it. So we'll breach it by a little bit more if we sign those. And as I say, Newcastle have just breached it by more than what we're forecast to breach it by. And they got a €3 million unconditional fine. So it's not really something to particularly get worried about.
Yeah. I was going to ask you something else and now I've completely forgotten. You're going to, who told me that? Are you going to the match on Saturday, Bill?
No, I am not. This one is very, very difficult to get tickets for. Very, very difficult. Unfortunately, I'll be watching at home. I think Connor might be going, perhaps, maybe.
No,
he
yeah,
was
I was
going.
meant to be. I was meant to be. I was meant to be
Yeah.
going, but I've had a bit going on personally, so I've had to drop out of that one. But yeah, I will be at the Newcastle game hopefully.
How
Which
concerned are you? I'll come to you, Jim. I'll come to you first. How concerned are you with the lineup? Because we are going to probably see Mikey Moore starting. We're probably going to see Richarlison starting. The players that everyone was slagging off last season, and we have. No matter which way we look at it, as good as the window's been, we've left ourselves short for the first couple of games at least. Are you concerned? Because
Well,
Brentford are a good side. It's not an easy game going away to them.
when did Zerbi come in? They stood up and was counted, and proper manager got them in the right place. No, I'm not worried, Kate. It's the first game. If we lose it, we lose it. I don't want to lose it, but if we lose it, we lose it. Look, we need to get these players in, right, and get them training under the Zerbi. It's not going to be for the first game. So I'm not going to sit here worrying. And if we lose, nothing will change in my mind. But I don't think we will lose. I still think we'll have enough to beat Brentford. And no, everybody's got to take a chill pill, right? This is all going to come together. It's all going to fall together. We get Savinho in, we get Gakpo in, and we get Marmouche in, and De Zerbi will work with them, and we get on the right track and start going up that table. It's the first game. If we've got to suffer a little bit for one game, then so be it. It's nothing to worry about. There will be meltdowns, guaranteed. But as Sean says, content's got content.
Oh
I was just going to say to Billy, if we do happen to lose on Saturday, there will be epic meltdowns of the nothing's changed, same old Spurs. It's gonna. Well, I'm gonna stay well clear if we lose. I'm just gonna put it out there.
We will be all right though. We just want to see it's a long-term thing. This is year zero of De Zerbi. I think we're going to be really good this year. I hope anyway. I always hope that. I hoped it this time last season as well. God knows how that turned out. But one thing I'm not going to say though is we will 100% lose games, even though that is true. I'm not going to say it out loud. But it's not the easiest game to go to, is it, Brentford away? In fact, it's a bit of a nightmare fixture to start with. It's not the kind of fixture that you want, especially when they've had a very good pre-season, a very settled squad and manager. But I'm excited. I just think we're going to control so many games this season with Fernandes and Tonali in midfield, and Brentford are going to see a lot of possession. So we just got to hope we can take a few chances. But I'm not going to lose my arse if we lose tomorrow on Saturday. But I don't think that'll happen anyway, personally. I think there's a possibility we might draw it, but I'd love to go there and get a win. It reminds me a bit of Ange, the 2-2 that we at the start of Brentford with. Then we nearly lost that one, didn't we? But excited. Got to be excited, right?
Yeah, I mean, Connor, what about
what
you?
I will say is we started really well under Thomas Frank, and look how that turned out. So
yeah, we did.
You never know.
A lot of people have been saying in our chat, as much as we moan that we're not going to score goals, that they think we'll be really hard to beat this year because of the way we've improved our defence. Are you nervous about Brentford? You feeling confident, or what's that, Shawnee?
What do you mean we're not going to score goals? We've got mentality on the left wing. What are we talking about?
Mentality. What is that? That is one phrase I'm not coining.
You wait. I'll be doing this all year. I'll be going. It's all about his mentality, bro. It's about his mentality. Yeah.
Are you of that sort of thought at the minute, Connor? Are you feeling confident for Saturday?
I'm not feeling confident. I agree with Bill. I think Brentford away is a tough game, and I also think with the front three, I think we would have won the game had we had forwards in. But I could see a draw. I also agree. I think that it's going to be nice to watch a proper midfield, isn't it? I mean, it feels like it's been a fairly long period since we did. Probably the last time you'd say like we had a really fully functioning midfield pair was, I don't know, is it maybe under Conte when Bentancur come in? That 6-month period when we qualified for the Champions League, that was a bit under Ange for a bit, but you had the massive holes in the midfield. I don't know, but yeah. So I think we will control games in a different way. I do think Van Hecker's going to be an interesting one. I think, Sean, you made a similar point the other day on your show. I think he is fantastic on the ball, but there's going to be times he makes mistakes. Kinski, there's going to be times that he probably will make mistakes because we're going to be so keen to do this De Zerbi thing of drawing the opposition in to then play through the press. So, and everyone's granddad and dad is going to be kick the ball long, kick the ball long. So we're all going to have to get used to that, I think, for the season. But yeah, look, we're going to score a lot of goals, I think, if we sign these attackers that we want, because De Zerbi teams score a lot of goals. We won't. A lot of people are saying, because of the end of last season where we conceded so little chances, that's going to be the case again. For me, that's not, because De Zerbi actually tweaked his own principles to make sure we stayed up. I think if he goes to what is proper De Zerbi ball, we won't concede as many as we did under Ange, but we will concede goals because we will be playing attacking.
Shawnee,
so I fancy a draw. A draw.
Shawnee, coming to you, obviously with the amount of money we've spent so far, albeit there's not going to be anyone in before Saturday's game, do you think that the meltdown will be monumental purely because expectations have gone through the roof, because we've had such a massive transfer window and brought in some top players that they're going to just expect us to hit the ground running?
There will be a meltdown if we lose on Saturday. Jimbo's got us all pumped up saying we're going to win the league. If you're going to win the league, you can't drop points at places like Brentford. You have to go there and get the win. I think we're going to win anyway, so I don't think it's going to matter. I'm pretty sure we're going to win the game. I think our midfield will dominate theirs. We've got a far superior midfield, and I don't know what I think that for the most part, I think that they've only got a couple of threats really at the top end of the park, but we've got enough pace to be able to nullify theirs. Maybe we can get caught on the counter. Maybe we can, but generally speaking, I think we'll have a lot of possession, and I think it will be one of those games where I think we'll score first, then concede, and then go on and win the game. But I'm excited for it. But yeah, if we do lose the game, mate, then there will be obviously people come out of the traps. There's certain people that as soon as there's a reason to moan, they can't wait to get onto a camera and say they've been saying it forever and yada yada yada, nothing's changed, all that sort of stuff. But I don't think that those. I think even if we have setbacks this season, which we will, I still think the general trend will be up. I think there'll be a few games where we walk away with draws that will be frustrating. Because what I would say is I don't think there'll be very many games where we've just been poor and we were outclassed, and it should be 2-0 was sort of easy on us if we lost the game. I think that we will be in situations where even if we do lose games, I think we'll always be a threat in the game, and that includes Brentford. But I'm confident that Brentford will be coming home with the points, because Jimbo's promised me that we're in a title challenge, and when Jimbo's, I'm listening.
That's a question.
I'm coming for you, bro. Coming for you.
You can come for me. I'm telling you now. Can I just say the odds have gone down of us finishing the top 4 quite a bit.
Well, they will have done, because we're linked to all these superstars.
But where do we think we're going to finish? Question for everyone. Where do you think we're going to... Let's assume we get Savinio and Marmouche. Where do you think we'll finish?
5th or 6th.
5th.
Yeah, I would say the same.
4th to 6th, I think.
Yeah.
Which I would obviously take massively.
Shawnee? If we get those two.
And Gakpo.
And Gakpo.
Don't forget Gakpo.
I would say if we get all 3 of those, and that means that Matisse Tell is put to the bench, I'd say 6th. If Matisse Tell gets meaningful 3,000 minutes this year or more, then I think we'll finish 4th or 5th. Yeah, I think that it's a really good opportunity this year for us. There's so many teams that are in transition. The unfortunate thing is I think the gap between 1st and 2nd is going to be
humongous.
Yeah.
I'd say
what about
the same.
you, Kate?
Yeah, 4th, 5th, somewhere around there. I think we get Champions League. I saw that Wolfie put out his prediction today and had us finishing his 16th.
That's rage bait, isn't it? Yeah.
Do you know, I saw exactly. Jim went, what's he? And I went, Jim, this is exactly what he does. This is his channel. He's a rage baiter. Don't rise. Just let him think that. but yeah,
And
if
Jimbo,
we
you've
get-
got us winning the league then, by the sound
First
of
or
it.
second? First or second?
You think we can overturn Arsenal with that team, do you?
I think I am absolutely convinced we're finishing the top four, but I think with the way things are, right, with other teams, if he can get this team cooking early, I think we will give Arsenal a run for their money
Yeah.
for the title. I do. I think we're going to be really, really hard to beat with the players we've got under De Zerbi.
And Cole, I'm reading Cole's message there. Connor, I'll get your name right once tonight.
Right,
Connor,
yeah.
are you the same? Are you fourth, fifth, that sort of area?
Yeah, I think fifth or sixth. I think I think not having European football is going to be massive for us, and
Huge.
and I think when I look at everyone outside of sadly Arsenal, I look through some of these other teams. I think United are going to struggle a bit with having European football this year.
Agreed.
I think Villa have been torn apart a little bit. They're going to struggle a bit more. Newcastle you haven't got to worry about really. Liverpool are they looking that great at the moment? I don't know. You know, it's even City didn't look great. You know, I think City will still finish above us. But yeah, I think there's a real opportunity this year, and then teams like Bournemouth are going to really struggle. I think with the European football added
Yeah.
in, I just think they don't have the squads for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
agree. It's a massive...
we just took two of City's best players.
Well, I'm not sure that's true, but hey, you can think that, Jimbo. I think Chelsea are going to benefit massively from the one game.
Yeah, they will benefit as well.
Yeah, hugely. I've got a question for Sean here. It says, can you ask Sean if under ENIC 2.0 we win the league in the next 5 years? And will he admit that Levy was the problem?
No, he was the catalyst. He was the... You know what it is, right? I'm trying to think of an analogy that sums it up. Winston Churchill was a wonderful wartime leader. He wasn't very good in 1946. As soon as we got to peacetime, they went, right, we don't need you anymore, you drunk bozo. Thanks for everything you've done. Now off you pop. Fantastic in certain scenarios, not so great in others. Daniel Levy was the reason why, if we do win a title in the next 5 years, he wasn't the reason, but he was a massive part of the reason for setting us up for the ability to go. So I'm happy that Daniel Levy isn't here anymore. I'm happy that he's gone. I'm more than happy for us to move on. But to sit there and to pretend like they're that because he's not here when success is found, that the things that led up to it are not down to those sorts of variables.
Can I tell you the real reason we will win it? It was because ENIC finally followed Levy-nomics 1882 on Twitter and started acting like I've been telling them to fucking act for all this time. They started opening the wallet, taking a bit of risk. That'd be the real reason.
Until we get that financial slap on the wrist, and then I'm coming for you, Connor. Next year, I'm coming for you.
I mean, if De Zerbi does stay and see this as a long-term project, do you think in that 5 years there is any chance that we could win the league? Seriously, honestly, I'm not asking you, Jimbo, because you think we're going to win the league this year. But do you think there's any chance? Like Connor, I'll come to you first. You know, are we getting a bit carried away?
Do you know what? Probably about a year ago, I was on a stream with Sean. He might not remember it, but I was on a stream. We were talking about new owners, and I said to Sean, if we got the right new owners in, and they did what we should do, i.e., if we got Qatari money in, for example, and they went huge and they took advantage of all the headroom and stuff that we got, I said that I could foresee that we could challenge or win a title within 5 years. Because I thought it would be such a culture reset that we'd be able to get the right players. Look, who knows? Who would have predicted Arsenal would have won a league, you know, when they were finishing 8th in that first year and all their fans wanted Arteta gone? I think if you get the majority of decisions right and you get really backed and you keep the same manager, you've got a chance, I think. And who knows what's going to happen with Man City as well, right, over the next next few years. 5 years is a really long time in football. So who knows? Who knows? That's a politician's answer. I didn't give you a yes or no.
No,
it's
but
possible.
I kind of of course it's possible. James Flower said if we bench Tell, we win it this year. I'm not going to keep you much longer because, guys, Billy, just quickly, obviously all these deals, I got accused of being a Lang lover on Sean's show for giving him a little bit of credit. Do you think it's him, De Zerbi, Mawson, a mixture of the three? I mean, where's your credit going?
I mean, you'll never know who. We'll never be privy to exactly who's doing what and that kind of stuff. But I think it's safe to say De Zerbi has got a big say in the mix. I think it's safe to say that Morrison is doing a lot of the fine tuning of the negotiating and the finer details. I mean, I've actually heard that Vinay is very heavily involved in the transfers this summer in particular, but I don't. To answer your question, I don't think anyone will really ever know the answer. But what I will say is it doesn't become a question if the transfers are going well. You know, if we have transfer winners like this over and over again, then people aren't going to be questioning Langer's job or Vinay's job or anything like that. It's just, you know, they'll just be saying who they should praise. So, you know, it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? Because you'd be nailed on to think that at least one of them would lose their job this summer, and it's possibly mental that they haven't. But you know, in response to the awfulness what happened last season, can't complain. It's been a very good window, and it could be if we do get the say we sign Gakpo, Marmoush, Savinha. That's almost an impossibly perfect window. Like you could never have imagined this kind of transfer window for Tottenham. So I don't know who exactly is behind everything, but I think all that matters is that we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, 2 more questions.
What I do know for a fact though is that he's in Copenhagen. Or he was in Copenhagen last week because I know someone that was in Copenhagen and saw him at the airport. So I think he's gone home, put it that way.
2, yeah, he did, Marshall. He did break down the finances. 2 more questions, and that's it. First one, it just, when we get Marmoush, Savio, and Gakpo Jimbo, how many out of 10's the window?
Well, I just want to say, Kate, as well, that we got to give them all credit. They're probably all involved. They're not sitting in their office doing nothing. They're probably all involved. So we've got to give them all credit. And it's easy to hit on them, right? Like in the January window, they got a lot of shit, and I think well deserved as well. But they've done this window. They've done fantastic. And when them 3 come in, it's going to be an unbelievable window. So we've got to give them credit. And everybody crying, right, about the prices that we were going to be paying for Savinho and whoever else we bought in. It looks like it's going to work out 65 for each one, even though they've done it their skullduggery way. That's what it's going to look, which looks like a good deal. So I just wanted to get that in there. And what was your question?
He weren't listening. When we get those 3 in, Gakpo, Savinho, Marmoush, how many out of 10 do you give the window?
We're going to win the league, so it's got to be a 10 out of 10 window. We're going to be up there fighting. 10 out of 10.
Fair enough.
Short and
Connor?
sweet.
Connor, what about you?
I mean, it's got to be at least a 9. Like, I don't know.
Kick him off. Kick him off.
I wouldn't give a 10.
Get him out, admins. Get him out of here.
No, I would say, 9.5. I'll bet 9.5. Just because of this little delay, we should have had attackers in for more of pre-season if I'm going to be really harsh on them. But look, I think if you had said to me when I was at that Everton game feeling like I was going to have a heart attack because of the stress of thinking we might genuinely get relegated, that, you know, we'd be sitting on a show now, the 5 of us, talking about the fact that we'd signed Tonali and Fernandes and Van Hecker and those 3 you just mentioned, I would have thought you were mad, not least because of my views on ENIC, right? So, but also just thinking that we could attract those types of players again straight away. So, yeah, look, I think it's credit where credit's due. You have to say that's a great window and address like basically all of the priorities that you would have wanted to be addressed, right?
Yeah, that's fair. Billy, what about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably, if it's not a 10, it's got to be a 9.58 or so, or 9.8 or so. It's hard to think of a window that could have gone much better. I mean, the only thing that I would have, I'm such a big fan of Kruppi. I would have loved that. I think that would have been it. I love Kruppi. I think we just got really unlucky with that bloody injury. It's hard to picture a better window. I mean, if we got those 3, I think we'd be looking at sort of I know in total spend, not net spend, upwards of you're heading towards 500 million, which would be absolutely mental. I don't know what the record is. I think is Liverpool the record last summer, 450 million.
Yeah,
we might break that. And if Tottenham break that, then I'll have to give it a 10. If we get those three in, I'll go 10 out of 10. I will.
Yeah, Shawnee.
Well, like a 10 out of 10 window is perfect. Okay, it's a perfect window. So
and what I will say as well is you can only really judge a transfer window about a season after the event.
100%. 100%. Yeah. In terms of intent, I'd say it's like an 8. You know, 8.5. Because I think like we've made a lot of moves. We haven't been rejected by anybody apart from, well, we might have been rejected by clubs. We were rejected by Bournemouth for Krupi before the injury came. But I don't think we've been rejected by any players, which I think is a first, right? We haven't been little broed by anybody. In fact, you could make the argument we have little broed some other people. So I'd certainly say in terms of like the optics, it looks like it's a 10. But if you want to get a 10 overall, then realistically you need to see a world-class player coming in. And I don't think we've done that. You know, I think Tonali's a good player. He's a good player, but he's not he's a top player, but he's not world-class. Come on now.
Not yet. Right? Still time.
Kate.
Kick him out.
The thing is, though, I suppose the context is, were we going to be able to attract a world-class player off the back of the 2 seasons we've just had, you know?
Harry Kane or Osterman would have probably made it a 10, you know? But
I think if I'd told you, you know, and look, with Tonali, I really, really rate Tonali. I agree with you. He's not world-class. I think he's just that. I think he's that tier below. But I think if I'd said to you after that Everton game, we're going to sign Tonali in the summer, you would have said, no, we ain't, no chance.
Yeah,
what are you talking about? Stop sniffing
100%.
glue. You know, so
if you told me we were going to sign Fernandes, I would have said no chance. If you told me we were going to sign, Savinho, I probably would have said there's a possibility, and Marmoush, I probably would have said no chance as well. You know, so I'm very impressed. Like I said, I'm not trying to dilute it. I just think for it to be a 10, it has to be a perfect window, and it's no such thing as a perfect window. I'd also say that our outgoings, we haven't got peak value for some of them. I think there's some sort of question mark around some of the valuations for some. I also wasn't on board the Will Lancashire sale, so you know for that's a bit of a frustration. So I'll give it like an 8.5 or something like that.
Harsh.
It's not harsh. It's not harsh. 8.5 is a fucking brilliant window.
Harsh.
85 percentile.
Percentile.
That bloody word of windows is 85th percentile at most things. You know, come on now.
I would give it a 9.5 just because I'm taking a half off because we haven't replaced Spence. That's the only thing. But if we did replace Spence this window, I would give it a 10 because it's just exceeded my expectations a million times over. So what were you going to say, Jimbo?
A different question. Is it Enoch's best window?
Yes.
Yeah.
It has to be, doesn't it? I think we'd all agree with that. It has to be.
You have to be very careful as well because Liverpool would have said they had a 10 out of 10 window last summer as well, and look how that turned out. So
I
remember when we were signed in Ndombele, Lo Celso, and Sessegnon, people said we won that window as well, and it was a disaster. So you never know until the year after.
The only thing with that Liverpool window though, last year, I think a lot of us all said, why haven't they gone out and got a centre half in? You know, at least with this one with us, you can say we've addressed the positions we needed to address, right? As well as getting.
I still don't think they fixed that centre half spot. You know, they got the kid that they signed, Leone, or whatever it was, who got the ACL, and you don't know how long he's going to take it to get out. And they got Ronald Araujo, who on his day is a fantastic centre back, but also you ask Barcelona,
he's a bit of a
bozo, bro. You know, so there's like, where did Billy go?
I don't know. I think he
couldn't cope
with your with your negativity, Sean.
I'm done out here. It's late, you know. I rocked up into Savage Stream yesterday. Was it last night or the night before? Last night. Savage Stream for 5 minutes, and he had me waiting in the background for 2 minutes. He brought me up. He asked me a question, and I brought Matisse Tell up just for a joke. Like the first one out of my mouth was Matisse Tell, and Saba goes, "Oh, can we have one stream without you mentioning Matisse Tell?" He then put his camera on pause to go and answer the door or whatever. And I was like, "Oh, if I can't fucking talk about Tell, well, I'm fucking out of it." I threw the smoke grenade and fucked off.
Absolute class that was.
That's what Billy T has done.
Yeah. Well, the last question, Jimbo, did you have something to add? Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you're all looking at it the wrong way. It's not about getting a world-class player in. It's about getting top solid players in that are going to gel together and work together. And I think that De Zerbi's handpicked these. These are the ones he wants because he thinks that these are going to make a real solid team that he's going to fight for everything. So you don't need a world-class player. You need top players, and I think we've bought top players. And I think this is going to be an absolute solid team that's going to be hard to beat. I really do.
Yeah. And the last question was going to be, what's the score prediction for Saturday?
2-1.
Jim, I'll come.
2-1 Tottenham.
Oh, there. Shawnee says 2-1 Spurs. Connor, are you going to go with your draw?
Yeah, 1-1.
1-1. Oh, squeaky bum. Jimbo, score prediction?
Even without our first class front liners coming in, I'm going to go 3-0.
Who's getting the goals then?
Richie double, and if Mikey Moore plays, he'll get one. If
Who's
not,
getting
Tell.
the assist then? Who's getting the assist then?
Tell 3 assists.
There we go. That'll do. That'll do, pig. That'll do. That's what we're talking about.
I'm going to go for a 2-1 Spurs win. And I'm going to do my man Tonali to get one. And probably Tell to get the other one now, just for Shawnee. Tell to get the other one. But look,
just out of curiosity, one quick question. If someone, I'm inferring Tell here, but it doesn't have to be him. Let's say it's Lucas Bergvall. Let's say it's Archie Gray, right, playing right back. If someone who is currently, or Senesi, right, if it's someone that is playing on Saturday, who, when the full team is back, when Porro's back, when Mickey van der Ven is back, when Fernandez, if he's going to start, is back, whatever, and certainly if you get these guys that come in, what's going on? If you then bring in those. If you bring in then Savinho and Marmoush and Gakpo, then you can make the assumption that Mikey Moore or Matisse Tell or whatever, or Richarlison are all going to get dropped. What happens in a world where one of them has an absolute worldie? Like, what happens if Richarlison scores a hat-trick? Does he immediately carry on starting and Marmoush has to sit on the bench? What happens if Mikey Moore scores a hat-trick? Does he get dropped for Savinho? What happens when the inevitable, when Matisse Tell gets a hat-trick of assists, does he get dropped for
Sean, you just took 2 minutes to get and finally mention Tell's name, which was the whole point of that whole thing that you did, because what you wanted to ask was what happens if Tell has a stormer and we sign Savinho? That was what you really wanted to ask, not Archie Gray, not Bergvall. And look, I think us as Tottenham fans need to get used to the fact that it's not a starting 11 anymore, right? It's a squad game, and we can play players based on form. And I'd love to be in a position where, we don't know the starting 11 because we've got good players, rather than not knowing the starting 11 because we don't know who's going to be injured. So hopefully that's the case. And look, I think at the moment you'd have to say that Tell.
So meritocracy is the rule of the day. Whoever, I wasn't just talking about Tell. Let's say Richie will score a hat trick. Does Richie get his place, and then Marmoush has got to wait his turn? Yeah.
I think De Zerbi would do that, but I think ultimately it wouldn't take long for Richarlison to revert to form.
So, imagine if it wasn't after a while. De Zerbi's going like, could really do with him just misplacing one pass here. Just make one bozo typical Richarlison mistake so I can hook him off.
Yeah.
But Richarlison just keeps on delivering.
To be fair, Billy did say that Mikey Moore's loan is happening anyway, Sean. I don't know if you was here for that, was you? I did hear it, yeah. Oh, you did. Billy, I just wanted your score prediction for the weekend.
2-1 Tottenham. 2-1 Tottenham.
Hey! This a club. Who's scoring for you, Billy?
Tonali and Richarlison.
Love it. Richarlison and Tonali. Perfect.
You just know that Rich is going to play like a demon.
Oh,
you just know it.
Of course.
Yeah. Of course.
That's no problem.
No. Listen.
You've got to fight for your place now, haven't you? So there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I want to pick you up on this. How come Billy and Connor get an unbelievable adjective thrown in front of them, and it's just the incredible, amazing, sensational Billy and Connor? Oh yeah, don't forget Shawnee as well. Oh, What the fuck is going on there?
Because you came in late. I'd already done the banner. There, is that better?
Yeah.
Why does he get all capitals? I mean,
That's what I was considering. Then I was like, the capitals does stand out a bit better. I'm now talking. Back in the game, Kate. You're back on my good side, girl. Well done.
Yeah, I should have put the flip-flop bozo Shawnee. But look, Billy, thank you so much for coming. It's always so good to have you on the show. Thank you for taking the time. Connor, finally, it's been so good to have you on. And hopefully you'll come on again. We haven't scared you off, especially with me calling you Levy.
Yeah, loved being on. Yes. No, loved being on. Thank you for having me.
I can honestly say it was nice to be explained some things that I didn't understand and be able to actually understand what you're saying. So I appreciate that. And Shawnee, you're like part of the furniture as well over here. So thank you for coming on. And if anyone hasn't subscribed to these guys, go over to the Whistle Blows for Billy and Connor. We're going to be doing loads more content, I assume, now the season.
The incredible
started.
Billy and Connor. The incredible.
The incredible Billy and Connor. And the fabulous Shawnee as well, who puts out content every single day, as everyone knows. And look, there's way too many jewels for me to go through. But thank you to everyone who sent jewels, to Sonam for the super chat, to Blano coming over to us, giving us a super chat and becoming a member and 10 memberships.
Oh, Blaine!
Absolute legend. And also to Danny Kiriakou as well, wherever you are, you're down here somewhere, for sending your 5 memberships and the super chat as well. And also there's more. Sunny for the super chat, and all the people that have watched. We've had absolutely bundles watching. I missed that. Big up Graham being a member for 30 months. We had over 2,000 watching thanks to Billy's amazing influence over on X. He does it for us every time. He tweets it out there and it goes global. That's our biggest ever viewing. So, I'd like to take credit for it, but that's because Billy and Connor and Shawnee have been on the show. So appreciate you all. Jimbo, do you want to add anything before we go and let these lads go?
I just want to thank, obviously, Billy and Connor for coming on. Always a pleasure to have you, especially you, Billy. Sorry, Connor, but it comes on quite a lot. And it's always nice. And Shawnee, for all the help he's give us a big push. So I want to thank Sean as well. And have some faith, everybody. We're going to be fighting for that top spot. Spurs are back. Come on, you Spurs.
And before we finish, guys, do go over to the Spurs Hub and sign up there because it's fabulous. And we've got a predictor league over there as well as other Spurs talk shows got one over there. I think Johnny's got one over there. So
you've got more people in yours than Johnny's got in his.
Yeah, well, what can I say? It's because we promise prizes. That's what it is. What do points make prizes?
A couple of OK jersey numbers, right? A couple of little cheeky.
Kate, do go over to the Hub.
Sorry, also all the super chats everybody sent in the jewels. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So go over to the Hub, sign up quick because the Premier League starts, thank God, tomorrow night, albeit with them lot up the road.
Yeah, 20 hours away. 20 hours away.
Wow. So go over.
Basically, it's like Christmas Eve. That means
it is.
It's half an hour before Londis closes. I might go and grab 4 more Magnums and really ruin tomorrow. Absolutely write tomorrow off by having 4 Magnums unnecessarily before bed and then lying in bed all morning going, I don't like it anymore. Never again.
But thanks again, everyone, for watching, and thanks, Billy, Connor and Shawnee. And as always, guys, come on, you Spurs.
Spurs.
I'm watching football on YouTube with Kate and Jimbo. We got good vibes going on in the studio. On my fantasy team is just me and you. And the wheels fall off and you crash right through. Then you wonder why you never win. You know it wasn't them. You know it was Jimbo. Come on down to Kate and Jimbo, we're getting funky. Let's go. Come on down to Kate and Jimbo.